Welcome back to the most professional StarCraft 2 with the most Terran player out there in the blue. It's Micro Jackson, ByuN. Up against arguably the best Protoss player in the world, the mysterious MaxPax. A best of 5 Terran versus Protoss grand finals between two of the best micro players in the world. But I'd like to macro a little bit to start as we put together our tribute to the great gods of the algorithm. And Jimmy, what are we... 1,426 likes on this video, on this cast, and I'll cast another one. And I'll probably do it anyways. I don't know what else I'd do with my life. But thank you for watching. Hopefully, you've had a good day so far. And hopefully you've checked outside your base for proxy stargates, because otherwise it's not going to get a little bit better. MaxPax starting things off with a pylon. Well, I'm not actually sure this is a stargate. It's quite an odd positioning. He has enough money in the bank, but slaps down a gateway, which gives me enough time to remind you to also subscribe, as I forgot we were selling out for 250,000 by the end of the year, which is a nice round number. Now, I wish they'd just show the videos to, you know, most of those people, but you're here, and that's what's important. Thank you for being here. And no thank you to that Reaper, says MaxPax. Well, now he certainly knows it was scouted, and I think ByuN wanted to check that there wasn't more behind it, like a robo or a stargate. So he gives away his knowledge of it, and things are going to start off strong. The Reaper working on the pylon actually escapes. Apparently there's a cliff location off the back of that. Hellions just heads out onto the map, a scouting / counterattack Hellion as things heat up. And now the Adepts not able to block the command center from landing. Not that that was a major goal here. Just a straight up proxy gate build. A single stalker back at home. Going to deal with the Hellion. And Hellion may get 1 or 2 kills. Oh, nope. You shall not. Well, shoots right through it, so may get 1. There you go. Meanwhile, the Adepts are scratching the paint on the command center. 3 stalkers have been warped in. Reaper standing by, waiting for its moment to shine. As it kind of dimmed pretty quickly. Cyclone comes out, but that's about 3 times as many stalkers as it's prepared to deal with. Another Cyclone's on the way. Medevac comes out, and with the Medevac, the Marine should be enough, but here comes the Reaper. May be able to target down, throws a grenade, bounces the Adept back into the fray, sacrifices the Reaper as well, but now there's even more stalkers on the way. And this is exactly what I expected to see between these two, but even quicker than usual. A single SCV repaired. Billy, did you bring any friends? I don't have any friends. I'm a Terran. Harsh. Fair, but harsh. I don't... Meanwhile, the Stalker's battling it out. Blink is still a long way off as MaxPax with the full-on gateway aggression. Here come the Adepts. Cyclone locks on. A better target as they take a lot longer to kill as they're not mechanical units, much to their dismay. And the Stalkers will be beaten back. I think ByuN has dealt with this now, though. The Adept SCV saves the day. Another SCV hung out to dry. Typical. Marines getting picked off. Another Adept in the back. Oh, it's not over. It's continuing. In fact, that Adept being there dodges the shots. Again, he just keeps saving the clone. Dodging the projectiles, but the Cyclone has survived. And MaxPax came in for another round, picked off another half a dozen Marines. But so far, ByuN has held the line. Though behind this, MaxPax is still building probes. He's got 2 bases. Blink is still not done. Picks off another one. He was using the Adept Shade for extra vision. Now 2 SCVs to repair the Cyclone. An admission of how dramatic this game has gotten. But I think maybe now it's time. Oh, he gets the medevac with all the units. It's not over yet. The Liberator on the middle line. Popping probes. 5 probes down. Stalkers have to be warped in at home. But he got the medevac with all the Marines. Somehow... Wait, did the Cyclone survive? No. What a brutal back and forth. But now there's a siege tank. The Liberator is dead. MaxPax had to use warp-ins back at home, so that cuts the momentum of the attack. And also a siege tank has quite a chilling effect on the strength of an early pressure. All right, calm down. Now we can get started on the game. Well, 46 workers apiece. Not ideal for MaxPax with a lacking in mule economy. Cloak Banshee on the way. Big fan myself, but kind of a surprising follow-up to the casual Liberator. But we are on the map where it's so easy to slip air units around. And MaxPax, it's one of those things that because it's such a weird and obviously counterable choice, it becomes good again. Like, no one's expecting a in fact, this observer may just be assuming it's interference matrix. He doesn't have a shield battery. He's not building another observer. Does he have one back at home? There's no... Okay, there it is. There it is. Okay. It's not as bad as it could be. Snipes off another probe. He's just going to sacrifice the Banshee. He may get 5... Oh. 5 probes. Meanwhile, the tanks are moving out. Round 2 begins before we really finish summarizing round 1. But the tanks on the high ground. And an observer overhead. The tanks just holding the center of the map, hoping the stalkers walk in, and they may very well oblige. Another Banshee is on the way across as well, joining up with the army. A couple Marines just to start poking at this pylon, which still hasn't been dealt with. A single Zealot is warped in, and this may escalate. A cloaked Banshee is sharking around, but the MaxPax is very aware that he could be up here. Oh no, the shield battery not quite in range of all these probes. We'll move them into safety. Where the observer comes in. The anti-Banshee hit squad. Not quite enough, though. 2 more probes down. And ByuN pulling back from this position before he gets surrounded and slaughtered. The charge is about to complete. Those tanks up on the high ground. Finally takes down this gate. And MaxPax shouldn't have enough to challenge it, but that hasn't stopped him for most of this game thus far. We're 8 minutes in, and it feels like we haven't slowed down. Two more racks on the way as we now kind of settle down into some semblance of what you're used to seeing in Terran versus Protoss. It's just these players are so... I'm not going to say dependent. I'm saying they're so strong with their micro, they can actually rely on it to a ridiculous extent. Most players are not so confident in fighting up a ramp with stalkers, or dodging those stalker shots with a medevac, or stutter stepping a Banshee while like all these things many players are very good at, but doing all of them all of the time, well, there's a precious few. We got the mine, so that's a consolation. Thank you for demonstrating. But moves to zone out the medevacs. Clearly an observer in position. Knocks out the drops, as ByuN, of course, was going to get dropped the base. Meanwhile, Colossi, ready to engage anything. Templar Archives is completed, though no Archons nor Storm on the field. +1 done. Fighting up into it. Siege tanks pound into the Stalkers. A lot of damage. I don't think many killed. And now some Archons will be merged. +1 Protoss ground weapons. Plus, well, a 4th Nexus is on the way. ByuN is building up that supply as he has his production online. MaxPax only now catching up with 10 gateways. And Warp Prism counterattack lined up, and there's no vision of this in the main. Oh, he's unsieged. Almost gets the tanks. There's a half dozen Widowmines, and emotional support field as well to discourage any further activity. Scan looking for observers. No, that was just a happy timing there, but here comes the Warp Prism. Medevac scrambling back to defend. And this is a lot of supply of ByuN back at home. MaxPax, realizing that, is trying to outflank the siege tanks, but unfortunately they can fire in any direction. Still looking for an opportunity. A few Archons would be very helpful, but the Widowmines are covering the ramp. And the Lyote is not happy to be in this situation, though somehow has survived thus far. Down goes a few of the counter-attacking charge lots, and that will give away that ByuN is backed off the map. Now MaxPax moving forward. He knows the map is dark and full of Terrans. He has to do whatever he can to light it up. And so far, so good. A little down in supply, but he has 4 bases, plenty of probes. His infrastructure is good. He's got most of his tech. ByuN, though, is angling towards the +2 upgrades, as well as a 4th command center, some Vikings to knock down the Colossi and Prisms alike. And now a Ghost Academy is on the way, so alongside +1 ship weapons. Observer somehow survives, and the Stalkers blunk in to defend it. That bio ball is looking pretty thick right now. And MaxPax doesn't have that much to thin it out. The Observer takes 2 scans, which I think is a win overall. ByuN is nearly maxed out, though, which means it's time for some dramatic decisions. Does he just sit back and defend, or is his name ByuN? 2-2 is finishing. He's working towards a 4th. And 69 SCVs makes a good baseline economy with still enough army supply to be very strong on the field. And, unsieged for a moment. MaxPax trying to get some progress before those upgrades kick in, which I'm sure he knows are on the way. 3 more barracks and another starport as ByuN scales up further. MaxPax spots this command center, blinks in, gets some damage on it. Might not be able to pick it off. ByuN doesn't have a huge amount of command centers to fall back to. In fact, he doesn't have any extra here. Usually by this stage of the game, Terrans are considering the iron bank of half a dozen extra command centers. And then trying to convince people that mules are fair and balanced. But so far, ByuN, well, he does have the money for it now, but MaxPax is at the door, and he's going to be knocking with his entire army. Dark Shrine on the way. Double Disruptor as well. The double Ds of destruction, but here comes MaxPax. He loses 1 Colossus, the Vikings. Oh no, a Disruptor wanders into the fray. And the Vikings are knocking down most of the Colossi. There's just no good engagement angle on this side of the map, but in the main base, on the other hand, that's also true, as the boys are pulled. And the Warp Prism is taken down, and MaxPax is shut down at the front and knocked out at the back. Dark Shrine is halfway done. +1 armor on the way for MaxPax, working on +3 weapons, but that's a long way off. He's got 10 gateways. He's working on Robo number 3, and the Disruptor count has grown. But ByuN, as Clem's prodigal father. Oh, the Disruptor shot actually finds a connection. But landing those shots consistently is going to be a struggle, but sometimes it just takes one. Another shot comes home. And ByuN, well, the Widow Mines. The Zealots pay the price and knock them out, as there is no drilling cause. They don't remain cloaked afterwards. And working towards the center of the map, the charge lot streaming in. EMPs wash across the board. The bio ball has so much DPS, and the Disruptors aren't able to break it up in time. Meanwhile, though, the charge lot's at the back, going to be chased down. Concussive shells done a long time ago. He's able to kneecap some of those Zealots on the way out. Another Nexus on the way as MaxPax is working on base number 6 at the 3 o'clock location. Now 4 Raptors. Charge lot shut down again. Snipes off 2 siege tanks. Fires off a double barrel. Gets another siege tank. And a follow-up shot. Clips some of the Marines and Marauders. But not going to stop ByuN from retaking this base. It looks like he lost that original command center, but he's rebuilding. MaxPax has so much economy right now. He's got 1,200 more minerals a minute and several hundred gas. But can he bring it to bear? The Dark Templar on the way. Dark Templar blink as well. Clips a Marauder. Fires a fadeaway shot. Finds another connection. And leans in. Gets a very unlucky Marine. And now the charge lots. There are SCVs out here. Oh no! 7 SCVs down. EMP deep cloaks some of the Dark Templar. MaxPax actually manages to split off the Steel Cloak Templar and send it in towards the main. What a game. 3-3 is about to complete, though. This is about to be the strongest ByuN it's the strongest timing he's had for quite a while, and maybe will be the strongest timing in the game, as MaxPax will only start catching up at upgrades. Disruptor shot comes up short. DT in the main base still hasn't been dealt with, but wait, there's more. More Zealots, more Dark Templar. And MaxPax is starting to work into ByuN's economy. ByuN comes back home. Half his army is halfway across the map, and the other half is scrambling to defend those counterattacks. 27 SCV, 29 SCVs dead. The Disruptors zoning force field takes out the orbital command, takes out 39 SCVs. Oh, and ByuN eats a hit to the face. Another shot. Still 132 army supply, but he's on very borrowed time now. even with the power of mules. Right now, he only has 2 orbital commands, which is precious few. He even salvaged the bunker. All right, burn the ships. We either succeed or die trying. ByuN goes forward. He eats a hit directly to the face. He tried to dive on the Raptors. He knocks out a Colossus. The Bioball's still rolling. Works into the gateway units on the back line, and he's tearing through them in turn. Down goes another Colossus. MaxPax supply plummets so ridiculously quickly. The medevacs are out of energy. He's warping in a few more Zealots. Disruptors still coming up short. Vikings hit the deck. The final attack. Well, unless he's able to do critical damage. Oh, the Disruptors are recharged, though. But what is there to deal with the Bioball head-on? He can just run from the Disruptors. And with those stims, he does so very quickly. MaxPax is losing his robotics facilities. The Disruptors starting to fire off shots. Ends up dodging it with the Vikings. Another shot around the corner. Meanwhile, ByuN is still killing his base throughout all this. Clips a few of his own Zealots in the process. 1,600 minerals in the bank for MaxPax. There goes the Dark Shrine. The medevac's completely out of energy. Those stims are permanent now. Where are the Raptors? MaxPax is trying to break up his own ramp, but ByuN has just cleaved a direct path through into his main. Another Raptor shot, clips a Viking. Another shot, splits the blue sea. And he just isn't finding the connections. Get some ghosts. Is he out of shots? ByuN down to 118 supply. In the main base, something is happening. There's a DT or something back here. He's able to scan. But MaxPax is down to 42 probes. ByuN has successfully undercut his economy, and the Disruptors just can't get the job done. He pulls into the medevacs, and he boosts away. And ByuN just ripped a path like a hurricane through 2 bases of MaxPax. He killed multiple robotics facilities. He killed 6 gateways. He killed both the Nexi, all of the Templar, the Twilight Council. He burned the tech tree down to the stump. He salted the earth and the BattleNet forums. And now, ByuN has the 30 supply lead. MaxPax underestimated his commitment. He wasn't in position to actually deal with it. And the Bioball just rolled right through. Not to take away from ByuN's, both his micro, his decision-making, and his commitment. If you hesitate at all, the Disruptors just keep getting more and more shots. And they were getting hits. Just not hitting hard enough. Oh no. Is it over? MaxPax, when the supply flips in this scenario, it's very hard to turn that back. Disruptor, he recalls. The Raptors are not enough. Not on their own. And just chasing them down. ByuN with a masterclass in Terran commitment. He just sent it. And MaxPax did not have enough to stop him. The Disruptors are popped. The Stalkers come up, but it's not gonna be enough. 1 ghost. They'll expect one of us in the wreckage, brother. ByuN has been mining. He's brought the worker count even. The main base was lifted. The natural cleared out. But MaxPax is running on prayers. Oh my, that medevac. So close, yet so incredibly far. GG. ByuN opens things up with a ridiculous turnaround. MaxPax was clipping away at him, one after another. But at the end of the day, it's just not enough. Wow. All right. And now the rest of the series. An exhausting game. But these two have played some of the most games of anyone in StarCraft. MaxPax plays in pretty much every tournament that doesn't force him to show up in person. Whereas ByuN has a long and storied history of playing in essentially every online cup. For a while, it was ByuN versus Dark as the staple in pretty much every online tournament. And now it still is, but it used to be too. Whereas for everything on the European side of things, MaxPax versus, well, probably Clem. But if Clem can't be there, we have a stand-in, like a Rainer or Showtime or something. But usually Clem. What a game. And I want to mention, this is from the Urasaurus Cup, which I believe is the name of a organization, which is one of the weekly cups that has cropped up in the vacuum created by the purgatory of ESL, which we're still hoping on. But if you want to check it out, make sure to check it out Monday nights. Dave Testa is the one running it. Also runs the Korean StarCraft 2 League, so shout out to him. And if you're watching, give him a like in the comments. Thank you for watching. God. I'll be honest, a lot of the time, I find Terran versus Protoss to have the widest range of games, more than any other match. But the general trend of games is mediocrity compared to any other matchup as well. Like Terran versus Protoss, where, especially if it's not Clem versus MaxPax, is maybe one big early attack. Oh my god, this play. MaxPax with the dodge. One big early attack, and then everybody, like, sits in their base and... Stop right there. Everyone sits in their base for, like, 5 minutes and builds up their next attack, and usually that decides the game. But these two are so incredibly good and do not want to pass up. It's not just like they want to be all in. They don't want to pass up an opportunity to gain an advantage. And both of their strategies and styles revolve around being in your opponent's face and trying to figure out what advantages you can gain, which makes for the most entertaining StarCraft 2, in my opinion. My incredibly humble and modest opinion. Like and subscribe if you think I'm one of the most humble and modest YouTubers you're watching right now. Cyclone. Danger zone. Meanwhile, Robo on the way. Cyclone locks onto the Adept, which means the Stalker gets a bit of extra time on it. But now the probes. Grenade misses the mark. Adept Shade. Oh, this is an interesting trade. Wait. MaxPax! Perfectly calculated. Now, those units, gotta be careful not to brush up against each other too hard, because they may just crumble. Billy! Job's finished. Get back to work. Job's finished. Adept. Oh. The Marine's looking for exactly this. ByuN spots it. And we'll move to intercept. Now we got a Warp Prism and Blink on the way. MaxPax gonna be able to put a... Ooh, well... That Adept was not gonna make it far in a fight anyway, so I think a full scout of the main base, spotting the production and the commitment to the Marines will give MaxPax what he needs to make some smart decisions. Now, I don't pretend to know what the smartest decisions are, but MaxPax seems to think it's sending the Stalkers across the map and doing some Blink aggression. Oh, he knows that the Marines are in the medevac, and there's nothing else. He just kills the tank. Meanwhile, ByuN on the other side. Oh, my. Here we go. 5 SCVs dead already alongside that tank. Meanwhile, there's not really enough to defend. 3 Stalkers doesn't quite kill these Marines as quickly as you'd like. MaxPax setting up to potentially Blink to the high ground, but the Marines are just straight up fighting the Stalkers, and they're winning. And left to their devices here, the probes have to be pulled, but he's going to kill several of those. Gets 3, gets 4, and gets into the medevac just before the Stalkers are able to Blink in. But MaxPax is not done. He rotates around to the main base. And the tank is barely in position, picks off 1 SCV. More Stalkers going to be warped in. That medevac still lurking in the back of the main base for MaxPax. Looks like he's just going to try to snipe off this barracks. Ghetto blinks back with the prism. And now, setting up 4 Stalkers on either side to be able to snipe off SCVs. Oh, Marines drop out 2 more probes. MaxPax has taken a 3rd, though, and he's building probes off most of it. There you go, 3 probes at a time. So he's going to have quite a worker lead. And he's working on charge and +1 alongside 5 more gateways. So he should be in a pretty comfortable position in order to defend the inevitable 2-base timing at this point. The only question will be whether ByuN pulls the SCVs. The Marines, still no stim, just casual Marines coming up, kills another one. How does he survive? The medevac... Steve, what have you done? I don't want to talk about it. I'm guarding the wall in case of Reapers. Takes out the observer. A combat shield, concussive shell, +1 on the way. The triple threat. Robo Bay just now being built by MaxPax, so I imagine this is going to be a tech to boys pull. Like 4 to 6 SCVs to have a strong push, and then you just see what happens from there. But the War Prism in the back might just drop. He drops on the tanks. A bit optimistic. I think mostly to keep the Marines busy. Almost kills 1 tank. Colossus is on the way, and ByuN, all the timings are coming together now. He's going to have combat shield. He's going to have +1. They're the tactic boys. And here we go. And the rest of the boys! Never mind! Are you prepared to go all the way, ByuN? He is prepared, and it's kind of obligated, as there's no way he's going to catch up economically. There is no splash damage here, but the boys were a little late to the party. Oh, siege tanks target firing the Immortal, almost lambasting it to start. And the SCVs, well, he gets into position, but there's a Colossus. Shield battery overcharge and MaxPax. He takes it. ByuN taps out the moment he sees that Colossus, and MaxPax strikes back, sending ByuN packing. Well, beautiful defense, strong aggression. MaxPax able to keep a handle on it, and ByuN never really got the early foothold. Well, he never, in game 1, ByuN didn't really get it either, but MaxPax just made the critical mistake of underestimating the bio ball. But here, MaxPax giving him exactly what he needed, and not any bit less. A game 3, Site Delta. Things will change one way or another. And 1-1 is the what the hell is this? Well, that is certainly... Wait, can he see? Okay. Well, I mean, I'm sure ByuN has this calculated out. But, this is just the most painfully egregious and aggressive Reaper rush that you could do. Like, I don't think I've... That's... Wow. Oh, he sees it. Yep, he sees it. I think a little bit off there for what he needed to deny vision, but that's not really the point. At this stage of the game, by the time you come down for an expansion, the board is set already. So And the bunker's on the way. He's gonna juggle that SCV, which some will tell you it's RNG, but you just gotta bribe the SCV to dodge the probe correctly. In that positioning could be pretty... We'll see if he manages to finish it. The Reaper is out, but the SCV, the probe, just needs to pull another probe. Get in there. Come on, Probius. The star... Oh, I don't think it's gonna finish in time. Oh, no. And by that, I mean, I don't think the Stalker is going to kill the SCV. It dies. But... Well, this is happening. There's another piece. Well, and he throws the grenades. He can just target the shield. The barracks just pretending like this and have salvages. Well. MaxPax handled this just fine. No panic at all. The ByuN rush does not end up working out. I mean, he didn't even kill the battery, so... He delayed his own command center. He delayed his factory. Actually, I think MaxPax is in a pretty great spot here. Absolutely no panic at all. I'm sure he's been cheesed like that so many times on the ladder. And by Clem, even. So... Just no respect for the casual bunker rush. And now MaxPax's gonna have Blink on the way. A mass factory build. ByuN with the Cyclone Rush. Is that gonna be enough? It is certainly a strong timing. ByuN breaking out yet another fanciful build here to follow it up. And he knows there's going to be Stalkers. It's almost certainly going to be blank. So mass Cyclone in small numbers against small numbers, like single-digit numbers against Stalkers. Well, you got a stew going. And there's Cyclone Speed on the way. Well, well, well. The depots, and wow, this is the most suspicious. ByuN never walls off unless he's hiding something. Well, that's not necessarily true, but it's definitely rare to see 3 depots on the top of the ramp. He's clearly hiding something. It's just a question of what. MaxPax saw 1 factory, but everybody builds 1 factory. Not everybody builds 3 or 2, at least this early on. So this is certainly privileged information that he's denied MaxPax, but I'm sure MaxPax is incredibly suspicious right now. The alarm bells are giving him tinnitus. Or maybe that's just the tinnitus. Either way. Billy... Job's finished? No, Billy. 3rd factory on the way, but here come the Blink Stalkers. Are there enough Cyclones? I don't... This is like a unit tester battle. I don't actually... I have no idea. Well, we're about to find out. Stop pretending ignorance is not bliss. It's an opportunity. Well, the Cyclones are on the wrong side of this. He blinks the Stalkers away. Everybody gets back to their corners. Cyclone Speed's about to complete, which is going to make it a lot easier to micro these against the Stalkers. Charge lots are on the way. Another great exchange. And triple factory. 3rd base rather is on the way for ByuN. And the Stalkers are still taking good trades. He's building 3 clones at a time. SCVs will repair. But there's enough Stalkers to one-shot clones now. And ByuN is very aware of that fact. All right. Well, MaxPax takes 2. And we head unceremoniously to match... Wait, what? Oh my... Match point. What the hell was that? Welcome to my new Goat Simulator playthrough. Where we figure out whether this build is bad. Wait, no, that's like Game 4, MaxPax. In the bottom right, ByuN in the top left, a golden aura. MaxPax on match point. But ByuN, well, you spent 2 games trying new things. Oh, I guess Ghost River was just a failed marine, not really a failed, but a not entirely successful marine drop into MaxPax's impeccable blink micro. Whereas game 3 was very different because it was a failed bunker rush or semi-failed bunker rush into impeccable blink micro. So, but don't go anywhere. Maybe pause if you need to leave, because if you blink, well, you'll probably miss it. Unlike MaxPax. Probe harassing the SCV in the workplace, as is customary. A zealot on the way. The worker fight. I didn't feel like it needed more commentary than I already gave it, but then I realized that's kind of the entire point of being here. It's like, why say many word when few word do trick? Because otherwise we're just sitting here watching the game play out. Which, you know, maybe. Pretty sure there are channels for that. The Zealot lugging those side blades around. They always got their side blades activated. Whereas, like, in all the cutscenes and lore stuff, I guess it'd be rude to just be whipping your side blades out in the, when you're talking to your friends, so. But when you're going into a war zone, on the other hand, it does seem like a, smart precaution. Zealot, laser focused on that SCV. Will not be deterred. Well, actually, continually gets deterred by the Marines, but SCV escapes. And we'll finish off. But wait, there's more! Oh, we did enough damage to snipe it off of the Adept. Oh, that's what he was doing. He was tapping him just enough so the Adept could get the kills. MaxPax alley-oops it, but then the Adept loses motivation. Does not go far enough. And the Shade, well, he will save the one Adept. He's starting to whittle his way through. Is there a Twilight? There is. Blink has not started yet, because a Dark Shrine is on the way. A Shrine to Dark, a smart move. Always pay your respects. And the Cyclone. Oh, he gets away before that last shot. And again, with the second Adept. And now 2 critically injured Adepts will make their way home. But the Dark Shrine's halfway there. MaxPax's gonna try to take this home with the Dark Templar. And right now, ByuN does not have any built-in detect. I mean, besides scans, of course. Always have to mention that. But he's not going for a Raven. He does not have an engineering bay. We could be in for a very unceremonious end here. Adepts get into the main. They will spot all this as well, which helps them realize, you know, the Dark Templar actually might end up being a great call. Unless the Warp Prism dies to a Cyclone. The Warp Prism itself existing is a little suspicious. The Medevac, hello? Well, the Dark Shrine's about to complete, but he just right-clicks on the shield battery. Uh-oh. Well, a Dark Templar's warped in. Will hit the Cyclone. The scan, he just kills the DT. Oh, now he's got some serious problems. Ah, yes, the go fucking kill him strategy. They're doing something weird. Well, he saves the clone, puts it over to the side. Oh my god, is he just dead? Well, So the DTs don't work out. Not this time. Game 5. Well, that was one of the most painfully and comprehensively failed Dark Templar rushes I've ever seen. But, an amusing one at that. And on the bright side, it gets us a final match. And we get to see the maximum amount of games between these two. So, put your likes and subscribes together for the last time, assuming it's not a draw, but then it would still be on the same map, so I digress. In the top right, Storm Gaming's MaxPax, the Danish mystery man. And, of course, Micro Jackson. It's ByuN. Really showing off that nickname as well in this series. Reaper on the way. Alcyone. I don't know what tactic these two will take for Game 5. Some players will revert most regularly to their most standard macro. And some players, and I would imagine, especially ByuN, is more likely to do their most outlandish cheese. But so far, all of the buildings are in the base near the place that both these players started at. So, nothing too untowards. Notice how MaxPax is tapping those SCVs once. That is not unintentional. So, very conveniently or inconveniently, and it was actually a balance change, but Adepts do 44 damage. They do 22 damage to light units per hit. Probes and drones have 40 HP. So 2 hits. SCVs have 45, but if you hit them once with a probe, that brings them to 20, and thus can be 2-shot by Adepts. So MaxPax is tagging those units, and if ByuN doesn't repair them, they're significantly more vulnerable to Adepts. It's a one of the tiniest possible details, but sometimes it makes the difference. Alright, double Reaper Hellion. ByuN with his TVT build opener. Single shield battery at the front, anticipating it. Reapers into the main. That's why they got that little caution sign there. Stalker a little late on chasing them down, but close enough. And a Stargate. I didn't even mention, I was too busy doing basic Adept math. Stargate is the choice. MaxPax going to be reaching to the skies to try to shut down those cyclones immediately. Hellion, yes, sir, that's enough. They drop it down for the Adept, or is he just... There you go. Reaper comes back in because ByuN can't help it. He may get a probe, not quite. 35 to 28 workers to start. MaxPax only lost 1 probe. He is able to shut all that down. Cyclone at the watchtower, but the Marines kind of get in the way of it, chasing down the Phoenix, and the Phoenix, of course, can outrun it. Or fly it. Don't be that guy. Cyclone, Marines, medevac. Alright, it's all coming together. But this time around, the Phoenix is intercepting reinforcements. The boys! The boys come off the line to save the clone. And the great crushing hug of repair will save the day. Wow, he pulled them all the way because those Phoenixes take 16 years to kill a Cyclone when there's only 1. He had enough time to pull the SCVs to repair it. But what a play indeed. Picks up the mules. Another Cyclone comes up. Not enough energy to follow that up. Cyclone chasing down. Oh, the Phoenix barely makes it out. Gonna be badly bruised for the rest of its life, but now a Raven with interference. That Raven with Interference Matrix is kind of a crazy choice against someone who has Mass Phoenix. Now, that can be the direct counter to the Colossus that MaxPax is rushing towards. We will see. Viking on deck, 3 Cyclones, Immortal. A great backstop to all this. There's no Interference Matrix at the moment. Is he going for mass? He's getting another factory. Is he going mech? Like actual mech? He's got the get. ByuN. Huh. And here we go. There's that second factory done. Raven's on the way. Cyclone Speed is in production. All right, well, here come the Cyclones, but the Colossus is stepping across the map, but there's multiple Ravens and enough Cyclones to easily zone them out. Like, the Ravens were a questionable choice until I realized his anti-aero be Cyclones, which, for a cheaper price than the Phoenixes, can easily knock them out of the sky. And they're not nearly as vulnerable to the typical response to the bio push, which, obviously, here is the Colossi. All these units incredibly fragile in the face of Cyclones. So begun the Clone Wars have. Two armories on the way as ByuN develops. I have no idea what to expect. I've never seen a... ByuN has tried a few times, but I've never seen a real mech build have any consistency against Protoss. And it does still rely on the Protoss not figuring out until it's arguably too late. But now ByuN has his infrastructure online, and MaxPax can't hit any of the timings before the factories come up. He can't deny the third base, so ByuN will have the economy to support this. And here we go. Scrambles the Colossi on the back. The force field actually quite effective, as those Cyclones are pretty thick. The Immortal will live for the 2 seconds it took me to say that and be wrong. Templar Archives on the way, though. MaxPax working towards Archons, which is another major vulnerability here, as they just have so much effective HP, at least until you get some Ghosts mixed in, which I wouldn't be surprised if he does. The Colossi are cutting back, but the Cyclones aren't dying that quickly. In fact, he's going forward. Anti-armor missile will help out a lot. The Colossi are just crumbling to the ground. He locks onto another one. And another Colossi just tumbles. It picks up most of the clones. I don't think that's quite enough Phoenixes. The charge lots are actually quite a difficult unit to fight against. But what an exchange. I still have no idea. I'm incredulous. My flabbers are gasted. McDonald's is coming together back in the main base. MaxPax is kind of adjusting his unit composition to a lot more charge lots and Archons, neither of which... Some chew toy depots out there to funnel the charge lots. Siege tanks on the way. 1-1 is coming up for the mech army soon. SCV's pulled to repair. Very important. Well, or I take it back. He's just going to leave them unrepaired. Fortunately, the medevac doesn't repair the Cyclones, but it does repair Hellbats, which seems to be where we're going. Or at least just Blue Flame Hellions. A Hell clone composition against Protoss. All right. Well, here we go. Disruptors on the way. Siege tanks as well. We'll see if MaxPax... I think the ultimate transition that MaxPax is maybe a bit reluctant to do too early is towards the Sky Toss. He already has a Stargate. He still has a few Phoenixes wandering around. Correct? Yes, 3 of them. So eventually the Fleet Beacon for Tempests and Carriers may be the choice. But we're not there yet. Alright, sharking around the corner. The siege tank's in range. 2-2 on the way. Colossi waiting for their moment. I'm not sure if that moment will ever come against this army composition. Colossi are for taking out big groups of units, but these are groups of big units, which is a very different thing. Disruptor, though, is an existential threat to the Cyclones. Can clip so many of them. They're SCVs. Oh, and a big charge lot warping. This is the kind of thing that can undo the mech armies. Disruptor shot, clips another tank. But there's so many tanks in the backline. Thing is, SCVs dying back at home. 8 SCVs dead. Disruptor shots clipping away. And the third base has to be lifted entirely. He's able to evacuate most of the SCVs. He still has 82 of them. They're like 10 of them are out of the field. The charge lot's looking to counterattack onto the siege tanks. Runs right by the Chew Toy Depot. MaxPax has 5 bases right now. 82 to 84 workers actually in favor of ByuN, but I think like 10 to 12 of those workers are just the equivalent of medevacs, where they're just following the army around on auto repair. That watchtower has been taken. ByuN has the siege tank jammed into position. Not that it's invulnerable, but it's certainly a difficult location to dislodge. But the charge lots easily able to dismantle siege tanks on their own. 2-2 is about to complete. This is some well-upgraded mech, and now he's adding on the Liberators. The Liberators, a extra dimension of difficulty for the Protoss to deal with. And now 2 more factories, 2 more command centers. And I'm not seeing any real vulnerability. Like, the main weakness is the mobility and just the infrastructure cost. But ByuN already has all his production up. And with these Cyclones, he's able to zone out the run-bys a lot better than if he was entirely reliant on a mass siege tank composition. Not that he's slouching on the tanks, he has 11 of them, but a dozen clones and some Hellions are really helping out with that. Disruptor comes up short, another shot, that one finds a connection, looking for the ramp, zones out, gonna try to shove his way in towards the third. That's coming around the corner, opening up a little more space to work with. But the Liberators are out now. I think the Fleet Beacon needs to be lit. The Liberators coming out is the inflection point here, where now you're forced to build anti-air. And none of the anti-air you can build is particularly great against everything on the ground. But he's just going to try to carve through these Liberators and take a surprising amount of time to do so. The Zealots kind of scouting forward. Disruptor's a bit disjointed. DT Blink's on the way. 5 siege tanks at a time from ByuN. Meanwhile, the Cyclone army is just taking down the base to the north side. Recalls most of the army out besides a few brave Immortals and Stalkers. Knocks out the Cyclones. MaxPax with money in the bank. He's building Triple Ruptor right now. A half dozen Cyclones and 5 siege tanks for ByuN. This is Brood War. The Cyclones filling the role of the Goliath. Like they were... Pretty much the Cyclone is just a mutated and poor artist's impression of a Goliath when you really think about it. As over the years, it's become more and more of that kind of mid-tier mech anti-air role, as opposed to a more expensive sniper. That is a lot of siege tanks. And, oh my, he's NG Bay blocking. He's just funneling. A disruptor shot obliterates a whole bunch of Cyclones. But that's going to make it so difficult to move in here. And the Immortals, that will also... Oh, great flank from MaxPax. The disruptor shots will dismantle the tanks. He's losing a lot of the Ruptors simultaneously. Blanks on the tanks. Liberators have shown up. A disjointed fight. Oh, but MaxPax definitely won the start, but between the reinforcing Cyclones and the Liberators coming up, I think ByuN actually ends up with a better trade. And yeah, ByuN ends up killing 1,500 more minerals and a few hundred more gas, but overall pretty even. What a crazy game. ByuN again, proving even at this stage he can innovate. And I think MaxPax has been spending most of the game trying to figure out exactly how to deal with this. And he's coming up with a good answer, but not a great one. And he still doesn't have that air superior. Oh, attacking up a ramp into siege tanks, though, has never been great for the life expectancy of anyone. MaxPax kind of flailing a bit. The Liberator creating very significant issues. The Immortals will be chased down. Maybe loses a couple more. Those are max upgrade Cyclones and siege tanks. 10 Cyclones at a time. $11. He just keeps building them. The blink on the planetary fortress will severely undercut ByuN's economy. But the DTs, MaxPax down to 150 supply. A dozen workers dead on either side. Shield battery overcharge to top up some of those last Immortals. ByuN maintains a supply lead. More probes dying. So many Cyclones being produced. Right now there's 26 Cyclones. I thought the first game was a hurricane, but it's a typhoon now. Those are two different names for the same. Shut up. Down goes another Nexus. MaxPax knocked down to 4 bases, and he actually has less workers. He needs the disruptor hits. He couldn't find them in game 1, and now in game 5, he needs them again. But the siege tanks will hold him at more than arm's reach. That Zealot. Oh no, the Cyclones just drive right by him. There's no answer. The probe's all here. The base is mined out of gas. There's still plenty of minerals, but he fights into the tanks. A disruptor volley annihilates many of them. DTs blink over the top. He takes out the tanks, but at what cost? 55 probes dead, and ByuN with one of the most innovative actual Mech Terran versus Protoss strategies. He takes it home, showing he can play the full Terran if he needs to. And MaxPax brings him to the brink, but I think ByuN just gets the better of him in this series. What an epic finals. What a back and forth battle. And I certainly enjoyed it. I hope you did as well. Make sure to check out the Urasaurus Cup and Dave Testa. Thank you for putting it on. Congratulations to ByuN on a well-earned, and honestly, I gotta steal that one. It's not gonna work for me. It's one of those anyways. But thank you for watching. If you got the means and motivation, it'd be awesome to check out Patreon or YouTube membership. But I hear liking and subscribing is still free for now. Working towards that 250,000 by the end of the year. Otherwise, thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Good luck. Have fun. Stay chill.